in a cozy little village nestled by a winding river, where bamboo houses stood tall and rice fields swayed in the gentle breeze, lived a young boy named Mark. The village was a beautiful sight, especially at dusk, when the setting sun painted the river with strokes of orange and gold. But as night fell, the village would slip into darkness, with only the moon and stars offering their faint light. Mark, a quiet boy with kind eyes and a heart full of dreams, wished he could fill his village with a warm, gentle glow every single night. He didn't have much, just a small room in his family's wooden house. But this room was his workshop, a magical place filled with scraps of colored paper, thin bamboo strips, and pots of sticky rice glue. Day after day, Mark would sit cross-legged on the floor, his small hands carefully folding, cutting, and pasting. He was learning to make paper lanterns. His first few attempts were clumsy. They were lopsided, the paper tore easily, and the candles inside often flickered out. But Mark didn't give up. He studied the way the wind blew, how the paper bent, and how the flame danced. He learned that every fold, every cut, and every dab of glue mattered. Slowly, his little workshop began to fill with beautiful lanterns. Some were shaped like stars, others like little fish, and some were simple, round orbs of red, yellow, and blue paper. Each evening, he would take one finished lantern outside. He'd light the small candle inside, and a soft, warm light would bloom in the darkness, casting dancing shadows on the ground. Holding his creation, Mark would look up at the vast, starry sky and imagine the entire river shimmering with hundreds of these little lights. It was a beautiful dream, one that kept him working with a smile on his face. But not everyone understood Mark's passion. Some of the other children in the village would watch him work and laugh. Look at Mark, playing with paper and candles. They'd giggle. Why waste your time on such silly things? Mark would hear their words, and sometimes they stung a little, but he never replied. He just lowered his head and focused on his work, his fingers moving with quiet determination. He believed in his dream, and that was all that mattered. He knew that his lanterns were more than just paper and light. They were tiny vessels of hope. One evening, as the annual river festival approached, the sky turned a dark, angry gray. The wind howled through the village, and thick, heavy raindrops began to fall. A great storm had arrived. Villagers rushed to secure their homes, and the festive decorations that had been put up were torn down by the wind. The beautiful lanterns that others had bought from the market were quickly soaked and destroyed, their delicate paper dissolving into a pulpy mess. The whole village was plunged into an even deeper darkness, the sound of the storm filling the air with a sense of gloom. It seemed the festival would be ruined. But then, a small light appeared on the river, and then another, and another. It was Mark's lanterns. He had waterproofed his paper with a special oil and reinforced the bamboo frames to be strong. While other lanterns fell apart, his floated gracefully on the choppy water, their flames protected from the wind and rain. They bobbed and swayed, their warm, steady glow cutting through the storm like little beacons of defiance. They didn't flicker or die out. They had just shone, gentle and persistent, against the dark, rainy night. As the villagers peeked out from their windows, they saw the magical sight. The river, which should have been dark and frightening, was dotted with dozens of glowing lights. A sense of wonder and awe spread through the crowd. They came out of their homes, their faces lit by the warm glow. The children who had once teased Mark now watched in silence, their eyes wide with admiration. They clapped their hands and cheered for the little lights that had bravely faced the storm. Mark stood by the riverbank, his heart swelling with a joy he had never felt before. Seeing his village united and smiling, all because of his little lanterns, was the greatest reward. The storm eventually passed, leaving behind a clear, star-filled sky. The river festival went on, illuminated by Mark's handmade creations. The whole village celebrated not just the festival, but the boy who had lit up their world when it was at its darkest. As the night drew to a close, Mark took one final, special lantern, shaped like a beautiful white lotus. He made a quiet wish for his village to always be filled with light and hope, and then gently released it. It floated up, 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 rising into the night sky like a new star. Mark learned and taught his whole village that even the smallest light shines bright when it is made with love and patience. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, please remember to like and subscribe for more tales of hope and wonder.